Hey guys, welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. It's Hump Day. I hope everybody's had a good week so far. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for dropping by and hanging out with me for a little bit. I share missing persons cases, cold cases, some current true crime in the news, and more. And today we will be talking about some current true crime in the news as it pertains to the Long Island serial case. I have to be careful how I phrase things. There are certain words that YouTube does not like, so I have to refrain from saying those. Um, but I'm sure, as you already know, Fire Island Jane Doe, or Jane Doe number 7, was identified this year, or it was officially announced this year, earlier this month. I think from what I've read that they actually identified her in August of last year. Um, they said first they was presumptively identified, and then using genetic genealogy, she was officially identified. So they had to, dot their I's, cross their T's, and notify all the family members and things of that nature before they officially announced it, which they did this year. So we'll just kind of briefly talk about, and she was identified as Karen Vergata. I believe she was 34 years old. So we'll just be talking a little bit about her. There's so much information out there already. I just want to kind of bring you a condensed version, if that's what you're looking for. Kind of so you won't have to go out there and do like I did and search and watch videos and read and everything else. But anyway, before we get to that, I always feature a missing person. Let me get everything going here. And this information comes from neverforgottenar.gov, which is the Arkansas Missing Persons Database. And like I said, I always feature a current missing person at the beginning of all my videos, because that is the most important thing that I want to do here on my little channel, to do a little part in getting the information out about these missing persons, to try to maybe generate some leads, tips, at the very least, or the most important, just keep the names out there so they are never forgotten. And today's missing person, if I can get my slides to work, there we go, is Jakari Jashawn Bass. He is just 17 years old. He is a black male, 5'6", 155 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. And he went missing on the 11th of this month and the year from Little Rock, Arkansas. So if you have any information about Jakari or his disappearance, you can contact the Little Rock Police Department at 501-371-4605. I will put a link to this information in the description box. So I urge you, please do share it. Like I said, the more you share it, like, comment, it pushes it out to more people, and the more people that see it, the better. All right, with that very important information taken care of, we will get to, there we go. I think my connection is very slow tonight, as usual. All right, so like I said, we're going to be discussing a little bit about Fire Island Jane Doe, who we know now is Karen Vergata. And they officially announced it on August 4th of this year. And I believe she was, trying to think of how many victims they found, 11 in all. So she is the 9th one, if I'm counting correctly, to be identified. So they're making progress, which is good. Hopefully they'll get the other 2 or 3 identified soon, and try to bring some closure to these families. So she was identified previously known as Fire Island Jane Doe or Jane Doe number 7. She was identified as Karen Vergata. She was a 30-year-old escort. She went missing sometime around Valentine's Day of 1996. There was no missing persons report filed at the time. This break in the Gilgo Beach case was the result of a genealogical analysis of her remains. And we've discussed before, and everybody out there, this identifying through genetic genealogy is becoming more popular. It's not the right word, but it's being used more. Hopefully it's going to be accepted more the more that it's used, because right now there's still some controversy about using it with this right to privacy and everything, because they do use public databases to compare the DNA. So, but like I said, if it helps identify these victims and help bring closer to the families, or helps identify an offender, I'm all for using it. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. I lost my place. So, using a genealogical analysis, the review was given a presumptive match for Vergata to Fire Island Jane Doe, according to Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney. Vergata's then unidentified remains were found first in 1996, consisting of what are now known to be the legs of Vergata, and her skull was found 15 years later at Tobay Beach in Nassau County. And this was several miles and a county away. So I don't know if, I know there's water involved, and if the remains were thrown into the water, I don't know if they, floated there, or how they got separated, or if they were separated purposefully to try to delay identification. I said, I'm not an expert in this. I just report on it, or not report on it, just share the information. So let's say, I think it's important that we remember and honor not only Miss Vergata, but all the victims on Gilgo Beach. Absolutely. Said Raymond Tierney at a press conference before, stating there would be no public comment on the Gilgo Beach case. The killing of Vergata has not been linked to the prime suspect, Rex Heuermann. So that's another reason I want to do just a short video on this. Is I've done several videos since the breaking news of Rex Heuermann being arrested and charged with 3 of the Gilgo 4 victims, and they pretty much think he is, or know that he is, suspect that he is responsible for the killing of the 4th victim, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. But so far they haven't found any definitive link. Hopefully they will soon. But anyway, I have a playlist of all the videos I've done so far about this case, so you can go check it out if you're interested in it. And we will move on. All right, so Karen and her parents had roots in Glen Head, New York, which is in Nassau County. It's a very small town, total area of 1.6 square miles. And they say it was a quaint, ideal place for blue-collar families. As a kid, Karen went to St. Mary's Elementary School in Roslyn, and she later graduated from North Shore High School in Glen Head in 1979. So at some point after high school, Karen ended up moving down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I've been to Florida a couple of times because I do live in the southeast United States. So I would imagine that it will be a big culture shock going from, New York all the way down to Florida. Never could find, or in the articles I browsed, any reason, if she had any particular reason to go down to Florida, or if she just was looking to get out of New York for some reason or another. We don't know, or I don't know. But if you do know, leave me a comment. I'd be interested to know if she did have a specific reason for going down there. Records indicate that she did get into trouble as she got older. In September of 1983, when she was 21, she was arrested in New Orleans on drug charges. And reports say that she may have spent about a year in prison for this offense. So it sounds like she was just, going through a rough patch, as we all do at one time or another, and getting into a little bit of trouble. But be that as it may, she's a victim. No matter my belief in my heart is that no matter what your situation is, what your background is, if you're a victim, you're a victim, and you deserve to you deserve justice. Your family deserves justice, and to know what happened to you. All right, so we'll move on. 2 months later, in November of 1983, Karen was also indicted by a federal grand jury for selling diet pills in Connecticut with 5 other individuals. And in June of 87, she also had undisclosed federal charges, but they were dismissed in 1991. So, like I said, like having the rough patch. Her life may not have been going the way that she had intended it to go, but that happens. So while all this was going on, she became pregnant, and she had her first son, Eric, in 1988. So now, on top of all these problems she's having with, the drug problems and the jail problems, and these indictments, now she has a child she has to take care of. So that just kind of adds, not kind of, really adds to her burden. Not saying that a child is a burden, but just the situation that she was in at the time, it just wouldn't have made it easier with a child. So through the late 80s, early 90s, she had some, as they call it, tragedies, which they are, that happened while driving with her first son, Eric. He was just a toddler then. She was struck by a truck. She was pregnant at the time with her second child, and it is thought that the accident contributed to her second son, Gary, being born with cerebral palsy. So just things just aren't going. She's just having a really rough time. She's got one child. She's in this accident, and says possibly the accident caused some problems with her second child. So it's just stacking up. Shortly after Eric was born in 1990, her family says that she took off while struggling with using drugs. Once again, I couldn't find, don't know when she took off, where the kids were, where her 2 sons were. I don't know if her family was taking care of them. I don't know if the father or fathers were in the picture. But she had some things to work out. So, and before Karen would eventually be killed in 1996, she was living on West 45th Street in Manhattan, and she was believed to have been making money as an escort, which that I believe most or all of the Long Island serial case victims did work as escorts. All right, so her last known contact with anyone was when she called her father, Dominic Vergata, on February 14th, 1996, which was Valentine's Day, and it was also her birthday, or his birthday, excuse me. And she had called to wish her dad a happy birthday. And this is the exact date that Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney says she disappeared. I guess they're going off of, of course, they have more information than we have as the general public, since that was the last time she was heard from. I'm sure they probably have other evidence. They made that determination that was the day that she disappeared. And most likely, in my opinion, was probably the day that she was killed, or it would be shortly thereafter. And police say that no missing person report was filed at the time of her disappearance. So 2 months after she called her dad on Valentine's Day and his birthday, a woman's legs were found in a plastic bag on Fire Island's Blue Point Beach. The remains were given the moniker Fire Island Jane Doe. Then, 15 years later, on April 11th of 2011, a woman's skull was found off Ocean Parkway while searching for the other Gilgo Beach victims. And these remains were given the moniker Jane Doe number 7. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I got something in my way that I'm trying to read. Still in the way. All right. I'll try to do my best to read around it. The 2 sets of remains from the Fire Island and the Parkway were assumed to belong to different people, two separate victims. But so it wasn't until genetic genealogy confirmed that they were connected back to the same victim. And so this means that Karen Vergata is the earliest recorded Long Island serial offender victim. And she was 34 years old. So unless they find some more remains, but I'm assuming that Long Island in this area has been extensively searched. So, excuse me, get a drink. Okay, sorry about that. I feel like I was losing my voice. So unless they find some more remains somewhere, she is going to be considered the earliest victim. All right, so from the remains, they knew that this Jane Doe was a white woman between the ages of 18 and 50. She had noticeable scars and evidence of surgery on her left ankle. And so they say here, we know this is evidence related to Karen's car accident that she had in the late 1980s. Excuse me. So sorry. So the years go by, and the Jane Doe investigation goes cold. While detectives were working to find leads on the killer, the Vergata family was still in the dark and believing their loved one was just missing, as opposed to missing and deceased. So we'll fast forward to July of 2017, when Karen's father, Dominic, filed a petition to have his daughter declared deceased to obtain her unclaimed assets to use for a missing persons investigation. He shared that the last time that he had heard from her was in 1996, and added that the two had regular contact over the phone and that her silence was uncharacteristic. So that's very important. It goes to victimology, I believe, if I remember watching my YouTube or watching YouTube videos of the professionals who know what they're doing. Victimology is very important. That's one of the first things that they look at, or that investigators look at when they're looking at these cases, especially these cold cases. Also in 2017, in the legal filing, Dominic stated that he spoke to multiple law enforcement agencies to try to report her missing. He hired a private investigator to determine her whereabouts, and he even spoke to several of her acquaintances. So he was concerned dad, of course, loved his daughter very much, so he was doing everything he can to try to find her. Hiring a private investigator was the right thing to do. Thanks to that decision, the contributed DNA samples given to law enforcement through the private investigator eventually led to Karen's positive identification. So, like I said, very important that he did this. Hired the private investigator, obtained the DNA samples. It led to her identification, as it says. And I don't know exactly when. I don't know if I remember if I read it or didn't. when the DNA samples were given to the private investigator, I don't know if it was before or after the advancements in DNA technology and the use of genetic genealogy. But back then, whenever it was, if it was before the advancements, they would have done all they could at the time and preserve the rest of them to use with the advancements that we have now. All right. So in August of 2022, around 6 months after the new Gilgo Beach Task Force was launched, a DNA profile. Let me make sure I haven't skipped any slides. Nope. Okay. Thought I had my slides out of order. Anyway, a DNA profile suitable for genealogical comparison was developed from the victim's remains. That summer, the FBI was able to identify the Jane Doe using genetic genealogy, presumptively, but they still needed to be sure. So, in 2022, investigators tracked down a relative of Karen, took a buccal swab, and thanks to those cheek cells, investigators could positively identify the remains as belonging to Karen. Once again, I don't know what family member they used to take the samples from. If I remember correctly, her father passed away, I believe, in 2019. I don't know about her mother. I'm thinking, once again, if I remember correctly, and what I read, I think she had a brother, maybe. But as far as any other family members, I'm not sure. But anyway, it doesn't matter who the relative was. They were able to positively identify her as Karen, which was obviously a good thing. So, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney said investigators kept their breakthrough hidden from the public due to the ongoing investigation into Rex Heuermann and the need to contact all of Karen's family members before they released the information. On August 4th of 2023, Suffolk County Police confirmed to the public that they had identified Jane Doe number 7, or Fire Island Jane Doe, as Karen Vergata, and her investigation is underway. So hopefully, through investigation, they can either find the offender, or if Rex Heuermann is the offender, they will be able to link her death to him. But that's just one thing. Another thing that we're going to have to wait and see. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of the victims so far that have been identified. We have the Gilgo 4, which is Megan Waterman, Amberlynn Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes. And we all know that Rex Heuermann has been charged with Megan, Amber, and Melissa's deaths, and they're trying to link him to the death of Maureen. So that leaves us with Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, Shannon Gilbert, who was kind of the beginning of this whole thing. They were, of course, looking for her, searching for her when they came across all these other victims. So I believe that leaves 3 victims who have not been identified yet. We have the unidentified Asian male, which you see there on the very right bottom. We have, if you look to the left, bottom left of the picture, you see the tattoo of the peach. That's the victim that they have nicknamed Peaches, or not nicknamed, but Jane Doe name Peaches. And then we also have the remains of the child, which they have linked it to. They said it was the child of Peaches. And I can't remember if I've read somewhere if it was a male child or a female child. I've got so much stuff in my head I can't keep up with everything, but I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. Please do. So like I said, that leaves 3 victims unidentified, and hopefully very soon they can find the information to get them identified and try to bring some closure. Sorry, I'm trying to get my outro ready here. I can't multitask. When I was younger, I could multitask, but the older I get, my brain doesn't work as fast as it used to, so I have time multitasking. But anyway, hopefully they can get these last 3 victims identified soon and bring some closure to their families, and put this whole thing to rest and get Rex Heuermann taken care of. All right, I think that's all I have. If you, before you leave, please give a thumbs up to the video if you found it interesting or informative. Share, like I said, any and all comments are welcome. I just always ask that you always be respectful of the victims' families, and each other. If you like what I do here at Southern Gal True Crime, please do consider subscribing. Check that notification bell to all, so you will be notified when I upload new videos. I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week, depending on my work schedule. When I do upload, it's usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sometimes on Sundays, we'll lighten it up a little bit, and we'll talk about some dumb criminals or some weird crimes. Or I came across the other day when I was looking for stuff, stupid state laws. And it just blew my mind, some of these stupid laws that these states still have. So I might have to do a video on that for one of my Sunday videos, because I laughed so hard at some of them. But anyway, I'll quit babbling. It's very late. So until next time, thanks for watching. Please take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Take care of each other. That's the most important thing we can do in life, is to take care of our fellow human beings and just try to make it through this thing called life, and just do the best we can. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching again. Bye-bye.